full-size luxury sedan market isn't quite what it used to be, for 2023, Genesis has given us an all-new G90. It's their flagship vehicle. It's got a completely new powertrain. It looks different inside and out. It's much more luxurious. And the question here is it enough to compete with the rest of the field, including the BMW 7 Series, the Audi A8, and the Mercedes-Benz S-Class? Genesis has kept some styling cues from the previous generation, including the two thin lines going from the headlights around to the side and then along the rear as well. Now, on the rear, there's two light bars that are on the top and the bottom, and from a distance it looks dark, but yes, it does light up. And the word Genesis is right across the middle. Looking to the front of the vehicle, it still has their massive grille. Not quite as polarizing as the Lexus grille, but Genesis does have a strong identity here, and I'm happy they've managed to keep that. Razor thin headlights, but they're still bright, and there's no issues driving at darker times or even in the middle of the night. The hood is very interesting. It's a clamshell hood, and Genesis Canada said they specifically did that to keep a cleaner design. The doors are electronically assisted, so the handles fall in flush when the doors are locked and you're driving, or if you've parked the vehicle and you just slide your thumb, or any finger for that matter, over the button on the door handle, and the door handles pop out. The door opens a little bit and then it goes all the rest of the way on its own. Technology is a massive part of the luxury automotive world, and Genesis has done a lot of advancement of technology here with their flagship G90. The G90 does have rear wheel steering, and it's 4 degrees, and it may not seem like much on paper, but when you're navigating a large vehicle in some smaller spaces like a parking lot or parallel parking, that 4 degrees certainly does come in handy quite a bit and increases maneuverability. On the road, the G90 is spectacular. It is so quiet. It is so soft, it eats up all the bumps, regardless of what drive mode you're in, whether it's sport or comfort or eco. Under the hood of the 2023 Genesis G90 is a new engine. Outgoing model had a 5-liter V8. The way the world's moving forward is doing more with less. So what we have here is a 3.5-liter V6. It's a twin turbo, and it's got an electronic supercharger, 409 horsepower, 405 pound-feet of torque, 8-speed automatic transmission, and there are paddle shifters. I don't think anyone's going to use them, but they're here. Air suspension does come standard. The most interesting part is all of that torque kicks in at 1300 RPM. On the outgoing model, the 5-liter V8, it kicked in much higher, around the 4000 mark. So you really get that instant push, that instant boost. Not quite like an EV, but for an internal combustion vehicle, the Genesis G90 really springs to life when called upon, and there's a minimal turbo lag. And yes, there's going to be turbo lag with every vehicle, but what Genesis has done here as far as tuning the engine, making it quiet, responsive, and incredibly powerful is tremendously smart. Cornering and handling for a full-size vehicle, luxury or not, is going to be a little tricky. And as I mentioned earlier, this does have rear wheel steering at 4 degrees in the rear, 2 degrees in the front. So maneuverability certainly helps. On city streets, it glides over any imperfections in the road. And even getting on and off highways, there's no feeling of the back end kind of sliding out a bit. It's very well planted. And the all-wheel drive is part of the standard and only one trim that Genesis offers here with a G90. And the one thing that stands out the most is just how quiet the cabin is. Yes, there's this booming audio system, but some people just like to drive in complete solitude and silence, and there's a fraction of road noise that's going to come in. Every car is going to have some level of it, but the G90 has such a minimal amount that I've barely noticed it at all. As mentioned, 3 drive modes are Eco, Comfort, and Sport. I feel the majority of drivers here will live in Comfort, and it's a great place to be. You still have enough reaction from when your right foot goes down to when the car really just jumps forward. And smooth jump, not a very harsh or aggressive jump, but the responsiveness is very noticeable here. If you want to save a little bit of fuel, sure, jump into the eco world, and yes, you miss out on a little bit of the responsiveness, but it's a balancing act. And if you really want to see what the Genesis G90 can do, throw it into sport, and that's just going to tighten up the suspension, remap the throttle, and really give you that sense of excitement behind the wheel. On the inside, it's loaded with luxury. Let's start up front. The large digital dashboard is very easy to read, no issues. In typical Genesis form, it does exactly what you want it to do. Infotainment system is so easy to navigate. It's a touch screen, and you also have a dial just beside your gear selector. One thing I specifically like is the mood curator. There's vitality, there's delight, care, and comfort, and you change the music, and you change how much light comes in the vehicle. One thing I especially like is the 23 speaker 1400 watt audio system from Bang & Olufsen. It sounds so good. It's crisp, it's clear. There's lots of different ways to configure it. And the cool party trick here is at the edge of the dashboard, just beside the A-pillar at both sides, there are speakers that collapse into the dashboard when the vehicle's off, and you fire the vehicle up, and these speakers just rise, and you have your heated seats, and you have your massaging seats, up front only, not in the rear. You have 3 color choices for the interior. This is the Bordeaux color. You can see it through just that nice dark shade of red, and it stands out. Some people say it looks more brown. I'm going to call it a little more kind of dark red slash brown for me. The Napa leather seats are extremely comfortable. You can contour the seats so many different ways. The HVAC system is a touchscreen, so I'm not a huge fan of it, but it's laid out fairly simply, so there's not too much guesswork happening here. If you're looking to chauffeur somebody around or be chauffeured yourself, this is the vehicle that should be on your short list. The 2 rear seats are absolutely wonderful. There's a cool feature called the rest feature. You hold that button down, and about 30 seconds later, the front passenger seat pretty much folds in half going forward. The rear seats recline, a little ottoman pops up, and it's just the height of comfort. For a company that launched with 3 sedans, the G70, G80, and G90, having an all-new G90 only a few years after the entire company launched, but with all of the advances in technology in such a short amount of time, Genesis has really made a strong push forward. They've done the right things. They've still kept their design elements, but I think that if you're looking in the BMW 7 Series world, you're looking in the Audi A8 world, I think the Genesis G90 certainly has a well-deserved and well-earned place at the table to be cross-shopped. Small benefit here that seems to be growing in popularity, it's their all-in pricing. A little over $115,000 here. There's no add-ons as far as features benefits go. The only thing you can possibly add to this is matte paint. That's going to wrap it up for the 2023 Genesis G90 flagship sedan. I'm Jake Canna for Driving.ca, and for more news, information you can use, and reviews, engage with us on our social media platforms and visit our website, Driving.ca.